It is remarkable that at the time Beethoven was composing his Seventh Symphony, he was at one of the most unhappy moments of his often unhappy life. He was just beginning to fully realize that he would be a victim for the rest of his life of the most terrible thing that can happen to a musician, to become deaf. His deafness cut him off from the rest of humanity and made him seem alone within himself. This gave him prolonged periods of deep melancholy, and yet his Seventh Symphony is remarkable for its joyousness of spirit. Practically all the rhythms in it are dance rhythms, so that one could almost call it a dance symphony. I am often asked, what is a symphony? To answer briefly, I would say it is a piece of music built on large and extended lines, consisting usually of 4 movements. Although each movement is complete in itself, a great design is running through the whole symphony, which combines all the movements into one large plan of musical architecture, just as the acts of a play, although separate, are related to each other. Each movement usually has 2 themes or musical ideas. These themes are contrasted with one another in character, so that they bring variety and interest to the movement by their difference. These 2 themes are usually developed and transformed during the course of the movement by appearing in many keys and by being played by different instruments. The symphony begins with a slow introduction containing 2 themes. The first theme of the introduction is very simple, just 5 notes. The second theme of the introduction is played by the oboe and begins like this. The chief theme of the first movement has a rhythm like a pastoral dance and is first played by the flute. This theme is developed into 1,000 different forms, as you will notice when you play the whole symphony. The chief theme of the second movement is this. Later, a secondary or counter theme is played in conjunction with this first theme. Together they sound like this. These 2 themes are in the minor. The contrasted theme which comes later is in the major key. Here it is. The third movement is a quick, light dancing rhythm. Here is the first theme. The second theme of the third movement is a little slower and is like this. The fourth movement is a very quick dance rhythm and is like a bacchanal or wild frenzied dance. The first theme in the major key begins like this. The second theme in the minor key begins this way. I hope my brief explanation will help you to enjoy this most inspired and beautiful symphony.